Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Kraken Cryptocurrency Market Update. Today is Tuesday, December 21st, 2021, foul year of our Lord. As we creep closer and closer to the much vaulted holiday season. It is the holiday season. We're already there. We're already in the holiday season. Yes. Bitcoin comes through with an early Christmas present, a nice big greenie. Beautiful thing to see, guys. All right, so should we get super excited about this? Is this something we should be hopping into along about? How does this correlate to the death cross that we talked about yesterday? And how does this correlate to other potential trade strategies that we might have in this range? We're going to talk about all that and more. But first, a word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is you. So make sure if you enjoy the content, hit the like button and the subscribe button. And you can help sponsor this video because we don't have a sponsor. It's just you guys. You guys make the show possible. So hopefully you guys are doing fantastic wherever you happen to be tuning in from, and wherever you are in the world. I'll get the hang of it today on Tuesday. Started off strong on a Monday, coming in slow on a Tuesday. This morning, I posted a little bit more fundamental analysis into the market analysis channel for the premium members, talking about my opinions on the overall economy, the possibility of inflation versus deflation. One thing I didn't touch on there is stagflation, obviously a third possibility for what we might see in 2022 going forward. But overall, I am a positive person and I have a positive outlook for what's going to happen in the world. I tend to view the world through a positive lens, and I found that that has been a helpful strategy in both my personal life and my professional life. So my best recommendation that I can give to anybody watching this, without going too in depth on what I covered there, is just simply have a positive opinion, continue to invest the way that you would normally invest, regardless of what the market would be. There is this common concept called time in the market rather than timing the market, right? So it's the same with strategy. When we're applying a technical strategy that we're going to implement objectively onto the markets, which is what our hallmark is here at Kraken Cryptocurrency, the most important thing is understanding that we're going to have losing trades, and the difference between a profitable and unprofitable trader with a good strategy is simply time in the market, not discretionarily timing your trades so that they may do better or this might do better. You can always optimize your trading strategy as far as entry, take profit, stop loss, risk. All of these things can be optimized. These are all known knowns and metrics that you can optimize in your own testing and in your own implementation of your trading strategy. But when it comes to actually pulling money out of the market, it is really just the same as investing. It's time in the market. It's time with your strategy. If you let your strategy do what it's supposed to do, and if you take a step back and stop trying to control it so much when you already know that it's going to be profitable, given enough time to run its course, then there's really not much else that you can do. And patience and a positive outlook and a winning mindset are absolutely essential to making it in this industry and in this space. And how can you not be positive with a big old greenie like that? So let's get to the charts. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Let's talk about the other cryptocurrencies and see where we see the market going here in the next few days. All right. So here we are on the main scene. Let's get rid of this big old panel here and hop over to the daily time frame. Of course, this is the candle that we're talking about right here. We do have a nice 3.69% currently at the time of recording on the daily time frame coming from Bitcoin right here. So is this something we should be excited about? So I want to kind of zoom out and look at this. Now, of course, we have seen this type of behavior before. We've seen actually, I want to kind of point this out. We haven't really seen a bullish engulfing candle like this. If we look over here, although this previous candle that led to a small, a little bit more uptrend and then a big swift movement down. And again, very similar over here. We have a small movement up, big movement down, small movement up, big movement down, small movement up, big movement down. We haven't really seen a bullish engulfing candle like this. All right. So we are now, we completely have a candle that has encompassed the previous bearish candle. And one other important thing that I like to look at when I'm looking for flips of trend, right, is I like to look at Heikin-Ashi trend as well. All right. So the Heikin-Ashi trend here is about to flip bullish on, again, the exact same thing, a bullish engulfing candle as well. So that is important to note out. Another thing that I pointed out too is pulling up our momentum oscillators. Again, we do have bullish divergence coming in here from time transformation. We also have a little bit of bullish divergence coming in here from Minx as well. Okay, and if we flip over to this chart as well, where I'm using a couple other indicators that you guys will be relatively familiar with. Of course, we have the QQE mod, and we do have the wave trend oscillator. We can see one thing that I really like to see here as well, particularly as I continue implementing on the day trading strategy with the VWAP double bounce. Going to give a big shout out on that strategy here in a few minutes. Again, we can see that same thing coming in here. Here's the bullish divergence from the QQE mod. And again, although we've gotten multiple buy signals from this wave trend oscillator in this zone, Again, we can see the little bit of bullish divergence coming in here. And again, it's always good to see that nice buy signal in oversold territory from our momentum oscillator when we're looking at our fundamentals as well. And again, just pointing out that flip of the Heikin-Ashi trend as well coming in here. Now, if we go down to, there we go. If we go down to the meso time frame trends as well, we can also see that the super trend, the super duper DEMA strategy, has also flipped long on Bitcoin for the first time in quite a while. We can see that the super trend took the short over here on the 3-hour time frame back on the 3rd of December. So all the way at the beginning of this month, and we have now finally broke that super trend level and looking for good price appreciation. And again, one other thing that I want to point out here too is, let's actually see if we can, let's put that QQE mod. There we go. Let's put that QQE mod on this 3-hour time frame. And we can see something similar as well that we saw on the daily. Here's that bullish divergence coming in here. The bullish divergence coming in. Again, this is going to be type C divergence where we have an almost equal low, but we do have that regular bullish divergence there as well. Typically for, excuse me, so this is going to be, again, this is not regular or hidden bullish divergence. This is type C divergence where we have an equal low and a higher low. Again, you can also see it with, you can also see, you can have type C hidden and you can have type C regular. So again, the weakest of the 3 bullish divergences, but coming in from the 3-hour, and we did have some good follow through on that. And again, I just want to point out again that regular bullish divergence, which is stronger even still, strongest divergence you can have coming in on the daily time frame, one of the best time frames that you want to have. And I do think that this is likely going to be, if we have this nice follow through, the impetus that is going to complete this bottom feeder signal that continues to linger. As you guys can see, the bottom feeder signal did start to signal over here, and that is looking for a price target of 54,542. So things to look out for. Looking for a positive close today, and looking to take price up to that bottom feeder signal. So what's the danger of obviously entering into this range? Well, if we go to the 5-minute, or we could even do this on the hourly, but let's go over here. And we're going to look at the double VWAP bounce strategy. So we're just going to zoom out and look at overall price. And as we can see, we are, again, just back pretty much at the top of the range after this nice triple bottom down here on the lower time frames. So entering at the top of a range is always a dangerous thing. Typically, when you're locked in a value range, you want to short the upper value, the upper area of the range, and you want to long the lower area of the range. And again, looking for that breakout can be tricky if price just decides to stay locked within that value range. Now, I do like to see the divergence again on the daily time frame. I do like to see that meso time frame super trend strategy that we have running break as well. So all those things have me feeling more positive than bearish in this area, especially looking at equities markets rallying very nicely today as well. So I do think it's more likely that we have the follow through from this. Again, we have the bottom feeder signal as well, giving us a little bit of additional strength in that direction as well. So I am positive in this price range. So things to watch for. You always want to protect yourself. Things to watch for. Let's say you enter into the position as well. All right. So what we don't want to see is we don't want to see the super trend value break. Now that's going to take, anywhere from 9 to 12 hours for that level to get back up there and give us an early exit as well. You can also slap a baseline on your meso time frame trend as well and look for that exit. All right. Now, again, we do see these, staying here on the meso time frame trend. We can see these long wicks to the upside, which are indicative of absorption and the lack of a breakout. Then we have a nice doji hanging here. So if we're able to hang out at this price level, I think it's likely that we continue on upwards, and we haven't seen that violent rejection that I would like to see. And again, even going down to the 5-minute time frame, we haven't gone up and retested tested the standard deviation of the VWAP 2, right? So we haven't gone above the upper band value, which is the strategy that we use for shorting as well with the double VWAP bounce strategy. So we've just retraced back down to the VWAP line. This is also the point of control on today's trading session. If we can stay above that, things are going to be relatively positive. But let's talk about the range that we have for the day. We're probably going to play this out over the next few days, but we have an upper range high of 49,617. That's the area where I would look to take profits if we're taking intraday trades on the way up. And again, conversely, that would also be confirmation for the long trade as well. And a lower range of 47,170. So if let's say we do completely retrace from here, and the entry on that meso time frame trend is not the most optimum, if we can maintain above 47,000, that's going to be putting in a higher low as well, and we can still see that daily bullish divergence play out. Okay, let's zoom to the weekly here. Again, pointing out the weekly, we are still maintaining the weekly baseline as well. We are continuing to put in a higher low on the weekly. Although we don't see a weekly engulfing candle yet, we've still got a lot of time left in this week. If we are able to close a nice weekly engulfing candle, like we always see when Bitcoin actually bottoms out, so we can see it just in the last 2 examples here. And here we see those weekly bullish engulfing candles. I think, again, those will be more positive outlooks for continuation here. But again, the most important thing here, in my opinion, is the bottom feeder signal, which has such a high accuracy rate. That's calling for price all the way up to 54,542. Is that going to immediately mean a continuation of the bullish trend? Likely in this case, yes. Because if we look at the examples of the death cross that we pointed out yesterday, almost in no examples does price retrace to the 50 simple period moving average or the 100 period simple moving average, looking at that death cross, talking with the death cross that we talked about yesterday, and then continue on downwards. Typically, when we get that death cross and price is moving on its way back up, it was a bad signal. And we talked about just multiple examples of that here. Let's see here. Here's the death cross when the market was already bottomed out. And then I think the example, I think the example that we wanted to talk about was this death cross over here, which happened during an uptrend, a little bit different from what we've had here. But again, we did have a nice correction here. Price moved sideways for a while and started moving up. So we might again see something similar like that here. Yeah, so other than that, relatively good day in the markets. We can see here from crypto bubbles. Let's get that popped up and make sure it's updating here. It's been a very positive week for altcoins. Altcoins are rebounding nicely out of this area. YFI, Hex, Harmony, let's see here, Luna, Curve. These are all up very well. HBAR as well. So all the kind of Ethereum killers or Ethereum complements are continuing to do well, although Hex is obviously completely different. We're kind of regardless of what happens here. If Bitcoin pushes up here, we're going to see altcoins continue to do well. If Bitcoin stays locked in this range, I still think we're going to see altcoins continue to perform well here. So I posted that this morning. I do have an overall bullish bias. And yeah, things look relatively good. So pretty simple. No day trades have been posted this morning because we don't really have any on the chart. So let's go through and look at the super trend strategy and talk about some recently closed positions. Just scrolling through my own trade log from the automated system and looking at the signals that are being generated to the Discord, I can see that things have been doing real well. We have a successfully closed trade on ICP, USDT, over here on Bybit, on Matic as well, and Solana. Those are going to be the most recent successful closed trades. We did have a losing trade on Mana USDT, but that was complemented by two winning trades on Omisago and Loopring. Let's see here. Again, as we talked about, the 3-hour system has flipped long for Bitcoin. Don't have any Bitcoin shorts coming in yet. We had a successfully closed Ethereum long that closed yesterday at 9:30 p.m. Let's see here. Pretty much at the same time that the 3-hour system was having a losing trade, unfortunately. So let's go through and look at our... Let's go through and look and see what the strategy is calling for today. We are flat on Aave. Let's see here. We are going to be flat on Cardano. Oh, excuse me. I need to flip down to the 45 for these. Okay. All right. So I want to kind of point this out too. So this is a good example right here. So in the strategy tester, which is what I have pulled up, we can see that the entry signal is set to ST signal. All right. Now there is an option here for the aggressive ST signal. Okay. And as we can see here, previously with the ST signal, you guys saw that there was no trade here. So the way that this strategy works is that it has to do with conditionality. So with the regular ST signal, price has to be above the double exponential moving average, and then it has to cross across. In the case of a long trade, it has to be above the double exponential moving average, and then it has to cross above the super trend. Meaning, in a situation like this, where price has broken the super trend prior to closing above the double exponential moving average, to actually get a signal for the strategy, what needs to happen is price is going to have to retrace. It's going to take a while. Super trend is going to have to start trading above the double exponential moving average. Price is going to have a correction and then pop right back up. That's almost always the situations in which I see in this type of situation where price has broken the super trend prior to breaking the double exponential moving average. That's how you get back in the trade. So it's almost a continuation signal in that sense. If you select aggressive, okay, and the profitability is going to depend on the market and the other settings that you input as well. I've tried to select only the best of the best for my own personal trading strategy for what's automating on my own account, and then also what's going through to the Discord. You can see here that price breaks the super trend, and then it crosses above the DEMA. And since this is the aggressive strategy, it will get into position on that candle. So as you can see here, it does get into position here. There's a little bit of a pullback, and then price rallies, and we hit the take profit target. So multiple ways that you can use this strategy. It's going to depend, again, on the market and how you set it. So, but again, this has been performing very well on the Bybit markets. However, there's another thing that I want to point out too. You will make more with this strategy. You will make more profit if you sacrifice percent profitability for letting your winners run, which is going to encompass either using the 50-50 profit taking strategy, so that you take 50% profit at TP1 to lock in profits, move your stop loss to break even, and then use the exit signal, which is price crossing the super trend, as your exit signal. That is going to result in the most net profit. So we can see that. You guys can see that in the strategy tester. Let's go to the 3-hour BTC to show that. Okay. So very low drawdown, good percent profitability, good profit factor. Net profit, I have this very conservative. So this is investing, this is just taking 2% risk. So if we switch this, so first off, we can see here that switching to aggressive is going to double your net profitability in the strategy tester. It's going to only marginally reduce your percent profitability and only did I say majorly? And only to a small degree increase your max drawdown. All right. But if we disable the take profit target, you guys can see that we achieve something similar as well. We reduce our percent profitability by a more significant factor here. So we're only being right 40% of the time. But as you can see, now we are increasing our net profitability again, almost by half. Okay. And only minorly increasing our max drawdown. So, and again, similarly, if we choose the aggressive, we lower our percent profitability even more. We significantly improve our percent profitability, or excuse me, our net profit. We are above 10% on our max drawdown, which is not really something I like to see, but it's at about 12%. And so this is the most, if you wanted to automate this, this would be the most profitable way to automate this strategy. Again, the signals that are going into the Discord are designed for guidance, and they are going to focus on high percent profitability, i.e. a high hit rate. We want our trades to win very frequently, so that if you pop into the Discord and if you're a premium member and you're looking at the signal, that you have a 70% chance to win if you take that signal, as opposed to having to take every single signal, knowing that if you take every single signal, you will make more money if you're using the right risk management strategy. But again, it's very unlikely. It's just impossible for a human to manually take every single signal that the strategy will generate. All right. So having said that, let's just go through. Let me pull open my just talk about the big dogs here real quick. So BNB USDT is in an active long position. We haven't hit the take profit yet. Oh, there we go. That will help. And let's go to Curve, which is been another good performer. Again, here we can see this is a good example where the regular strategy is not going to be taking a position, but if we switch to aggressive, again, boom, you can see here, we had our first take profit. This did stop out at break even. Now we're just waiting for a continuation signal. Dogecoin. I'm waiting for this bad boy to load. Take a sip of my tea. Dun, 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 dun. Doge USDT is flat, but again, we can see here that with the aggressive, we can probably have a profitable signal. Let's see here. Trading views being quite slow today. Let me scroll through the chat, see what's going on with everybody. McCall Kintner talking about being bullish. Joe finally got to go over the backtest on Super DEMA. He digs this one with a shuffle, man. Thank you, my friend. Cheers from America, Matea. Hopefully I said that right. I apologize if I didn't. We've got some chitlins and scrapple on a stick. Anyword turned 80 bucks into 980 on a Korean exchange, buying the fake Epic Cash. KYC was, I bet. We've got talks about scandals. Mr. Ether saying the 50 moving average itself is pretty profitable. The 133 has less drawdown of all that I have found. Shout outs to Alexander Pearson. Good to see you in the chat, my friend. Are the bubbles that we're showing? Yes, those are those are weekly gains. So we can see here that we've had some nice price appreciation on the weeklies from our beloved altcoins. Yeah. So here with the aggressive strategy on Doggy Coin, we are long. Price has pretty much price is above and in profit right now, but we have not yet hit our take profit target for Doge yet. Okay, so let's go back to the regular. I want to look at let's see here. Let's look at Sand, another top performer. Again, winning trade on Sand, just closing. Shiba Inu, winning trade, catching this pump right here. Theta, winning trade, catching this move right here. Uniswap, what's going on with Uniswap? Got into a long position here and a little bit of drawdown. We've kind of pulled back down to the super trend and the double exponential moving average. Keeping my eye on XRP here as well. Again, winning trade right there. Okay. All right, now I kind of want to give a shout out. So as you guys know, I've been working on the double VWAP bounce strategy, and I want to give a big shout out to Kevano for helping with this. He has been immensely helpful in spinning this up. And what I'm working on now is going to be coding the divergence in, and then this will become a strategy tester, and then this can be automated. And this is actually something that I'm really quite excited about myself, because this has been highly successful in my personal trading for the last 2 weeks. And I'm really excited to kind of get this all coded in. And actually, it's funny. Just, I don't know if you guys know how like good thoughts come. I worked on this last night, and I was... I kind of got to an area where I was able to pretty much get everything that I want in here. Let's actually pull up. I'll show you guys a little bit of the progress here. So let's go find. Here we go. This is a pretty good example. All right, here we go. All right, so this is without the divergence. Let's go forward a bar. There we go. Cool. So as we can see here, this is going to be pretty important to the strategy tester. Here's our trade entry signal right here, just based on price's relationship to the VWAP line. So let's just kind of scroll forward in time and see if we have a winning trade here. We don't. We have a losing trade there. Okay. So once I code the divergence in, I was thinking about actually how to do this, and I realized that divergence is very specific. So I have a couple options. One, I can either set the condition to detect if divergence is true, and then just say, okay, if divergence is true and we're within X bars of divergence, then enter the position, and then reset to divergence is false. But then I realized that what I can do is I can actually get, since the QQE mod is using columns, and that's one of my favorite things about it. It's so easy to detect divergence utilizing those columns. I can actually do something a little bit more specific. I can actually identify when a pivot low is found in price. Okay, those are going to be the red dots. So red dots are when pivot lows are found, new lows are found. And then what I can do is I can actually use the sum feature to add up the relevant area. So I'm going to have to play with it, but I think what's going to give me the best results is saying the bar where the pivot low is detected, plus the 2 bars to the left and plus the 2 bars to the right. So this is going to take 2 bars to be able to work. As with all divergence, we're going to have to offset things back 2 bars. And again, if I find issues with that, then I'll just go to 1 bar on the right, but then I'll be able to use a mathematical comparison to see if that sum value is less than the sum value on the new pivot low. on the new pivot low. So essentially, what is the value of these 5 columns right here, right? And the lower they are, I'll take the absolute value. So it'll be a higher number, you know, even though these are negative bars. And as we can see here, there is divergence here, okay? So the problem with the way that divergence is normally coded in TradingView is that it'll just take like the value of this column and then compare it with the value of this column. And that might not be exactly what we want. That's not really I don't want to say the precision, but it's the lack of precision. It's the ability, it's the ease of which we can detect divergence with the QQE mod. So what I can do instead is I can actually, just so you guys understand here, sum these 3 to 5 bars up and then compare these to the sum of these 3 to 5 bars. If this value is greater than this value and we've made a new pivot low, then that means that we have bullish divergence and therefore we would be able to take that trade. So that's pretty much all I got. Looking at, let's look at Bitcoin right now and see what kind of price information we can have right now. Didn't have any bullish divergence on this push down. Let's see here. Not really seeing anything here. If this is going to be a new low and we continue to hold the VWAP, this would be a higher low with a higher low on the oscillator. So no trade information or trading signals coming there. Again, we already talked about the top and the bottom of the range. Let's go look at Ethereum. Ethereum putting in a little bit. You could call this hidden bullish divergence, which actually I would. I think it's more appropriately type C divergence. Here you can see we have a higher low and a lower low on the most extreme bar on the oscillator. But overall, I would say equidistant lows. So again, type C divergence, and I would expect a push up from Ethereum here. Polkadot. Luna's UST has flipped DAI as the number 4 stablecoin. Big week for those. Yeah, Kevano, thank you so much, man. I mean, I really appreciate the help. You know, I had worked up a version of this, but your code was very clean and very good, and I really appreciate the help. Very, very cool to see. So let's see if we can, let's actually flip over here to the Heikinashi. Yeah, just type C divergence from here. So that trade would look like this. A little late for the entry now on Ethereum, but just being pretty conservative, going to the lows and looking for that 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Let's make sure we have that. That's like 1.66. There we go. Yeah, trade would have already completed. You would already had a nice successful trade on Ethereum right there. So I'm going to scroll through and see if I can find any positions to take. There's a nice move from Aave, but again, no divergence. And you know what I've learned from implementing this is that is, I mean, it's so important. Looking for that divergence is so important. Here's hidden bullish divergence from ADA. Here's the previous pivot low. And here we have a higher low and a lower low on the oscillator. So if we took this trade, it would look something like this. There we go. Looking for a push back up to the range high, essentially, or the local high. There's some type C divergence coming in here from Avalanche. As you guys can see, we've consistently held this range high, and yet we have a significantly lower low right here. You can even call that, actually, you could call that, that's actually hidden bullish divergence right there from Avalanche. Axie Infinity having a nice push up here intraday. Let's see here. There's some pretty clear hidden bullish divergence on Bitcoin Cash. Let's see here. Bit USDT, again, hidden bullish divergence. There's some bullish divergence on Compound. There's some type C divergence on DIDEX. Nope, nothing there on Filecoin. Phantom. Nothing there on Internet Computer. We already had a successful close trade on that. There's some hidden bullish divergence on Chainlink. Loopring is performing very well today. Luna USDT as well, trending to the upside here. So again, here, I just want to point this out. The divergence is so important here. So here's, as you guys can see here, here's the condition for short, but no divergence. So keeping us out of a losing position as Luna just continues to trend strongly to the upside. There's some hidden bullish divergence on Shiba Inu. Type C divergence on Solana and follow through already. XRP performing relatively well today. All right, so going back to the AVAX trade. Yeah, so there's a lot of potential small movements, small plays in here. Just nothing that fits into my risk profile, though. I need the trade to be perfect. So I've been taking relatively large position sizes with this setup. So just be patient, let the trade come to you, and I will let my higher time frame positions kind of just run life right here. Let's see here. Zybernetics talking about a smooth love potion reversal. You know, smooth love potion has been on my watch list for a while. You know, one thing, there's just a few things, you know, I haven't figured out yet whether, you know, SLP, you can earn it in AXS. So it seems like that would be kind of devalued. So very similar to, oh, what's that? Like, so, okay, so Wonderland time, right? 89,000% APY. I think it's going to be very hard. You know, listen, there's obviously like things can pump, but just based on the tokenomics alone, like as we've seen with lots of DeFi protocols and platforms, if you offer a very high APY, that's unsustainable, right? Even like, this is why I like Curve Finance, because they're upfront about this. You know, they say that, you know, the Curve rewards cause the value of the Curve token to go down for everybody else, all other things being equal, but they're like, they know that it's an unsustainable it's an unsustainable practice. Like, if you offer a massive APY, individuals are going to arbitrage and run that back down to what is the industry standard, right? So industry standard right now is anywhere from like 3 to 7% APY, actual APY on DeFi. And you know, this is why we talked about this in a mentoring session previously. You know, if you want to be very successful with deep value or yield farming, you know, you have to be very active with it. You know, you have to constantly be looking for when to move your funds, to bridge, to swap, to push elsewhere, and earn those high APYs, because you have to be quick with it, because they're unsustainable. They don't exist forever, right? The more people that come, like Compound's a good example of this. You can see those APYs, you know, automatically change all the time. So, now, if we have a nice big continuation rally and just the price of everything is pushed up speculatively, then likely those holders are going to be well rewarded. But barring that, you know, I've seen a lot of videos kind of talking about time and the Wonderland token on YouTube lately, and it's yeah. Let's see here. DUSK USDT good for the continuation long on the daily, asks BFlow. DUSK USDT. Let's look at Binance. Okay, DUSK is performing well. Let's take a gander here. So we got the sell signal here. We have some unnatural volume here, followed by the potential continuation long signal. We have that bottoming above zero. Yeah, this actually looks relatively good to me. Let's go to the... Yeah, Heikinashi trend held the pullback and back up. You know, we're not seeing that kind of big follow through that we want to see right here. I would be relatively hesitant if we get a red candle. I like to see these things continue on almost immediately. But yeah, all the signs are there. DUSK USDT does look pretty good on the daily, actually. So here's what I'm worried about, right? This is a maneuver like this. And this is also the exact pattern that you'd see in a failure to achieve, where we put in a high and we make a lower high. We're unable to actually break above that previous high. And then typically you short it when price closes here. So looking for that position here, you're looking for price to go up to 65, 74, and 83. And yeah, your stop loss is, yeah, at the previous low. So I think that's almost perfect. That's like picture perfect, looking for the continuation there. TCT Rugby. Yeah, Alex, you got a good point. Yeah, that's what makes me hesitant too, is that we don't really have a new high. So typical mean reversion would expect that the things that are overperforming when so we can see, as we can see here, DUSK was kind of overperforming while everything else was kind of slumping. So typical mean reversion would expect that what overperforms is going to mean revert, while what underperforms is going to mean revert as well. Yeah, and if the SPY's pumping, man, I think crypto's going to continue to do well. TCT Rugby says bull trend is on or not. Remember my 0.78 XRP swing trade into a long? Still in it and feel like I should let it run? I'd let it run, man. XRP is doing well. Mr. Ether says, is it silly of me to think I can find a way to pull 1% out of the market per day, every day? Yes. I mean, here's the thing. It's not, I don't want to say that it's impossible. Like nothing's impossible, but that's very similar to like the arbitraging strategy. So the reality is, and we just kind of have to accept this, that as nuanced as our indicators are, right, as individualized as our trading strategy we might create in PTP or using the PTP methodology might be, the reality is that we are going to be taking signals in areas very similar to other trend following traders on average. Okay, so trending strategies waver between performing really well and performing okay and underperforming. All right. Being a good systems-based trader means continually improving and modifying your strategy. Now, while it's actually not too hard, actually, it's pretty easy, right? With a couple good strategies, to begin consistently pulling out a good amount of profit, usually greater than 1% per day. You have to factor in your drawdown, and you have to factor in the periods when your strategy is not going to perform as possible, right? So again, I think the overall goal for crypto is to earn a solid, good amount on your investment. The nice thing about crypto as well is that if you also start building up a long-term portfolio, you're going to have those outsized wins. Robert, you know this just firsthand from Hex. You know this firsthand from Ethereum. You know this firsthand from Bitcoin. You know, getting those outsized gains and getting into those positions and building your portfolio of something that is nascent and has a high potential to grow, whether it's today or whether it's yesterday or whether it was 5 years ago. That's what's typically going to give you that larger amount of capital so that you can use something like PTP to begin earning 30 to 70% off of that per year. And I don't think that's unrealistic. I think that's exactly what we've seen being returned from the crypto markets. You know, with even kind of the most simplest trading strategy, it's roughly around 30% per year. So if you take advantage of the opportunities to invest wisely into the cryptocurrencies that you know and understand, if you allow those to bring you to a point where you have enough capital to begin to where earning 30 to 50% per year makes sense, and that's good. It all depends on, we've talked about this before, it depends on what your needs are, what your other forms of income are. So I think a good example is this, right? I think that if you start off in this space with $5,000 to $10,000, you're going to have to play, you know, you're going to have to look for slightly more aggressive plays. You're going to have to be more patient and invest in more stable blue chip coins. I think if you had $10,000 and you just invested in blue chip Coinbase alts, you'd be just fine. But I think a good goal is to get to 100,000. And if you're making 30% off that a year, even if you're only making 20% off that a year, which is 3 times more than the stock market on average returns, then that compounds very quickly. So it's a lifestyle. It's a way to trade. It just depends on what you need, what your time frames are, what your horizons are. But I mean, I've talked to many automated traders, and I have not yet met anyone who can successfully and consistently all the time pull 1% out of the market, right? Because the math is just kind of ridiculous. The math is just pretty ridiculous, compounding over time. And you have to understand, right? With compounding gains come compounding losses. This is why I don't do percent of equity trading, right? I don't go all in on trades, because although if I go all in on a trade, I'm going to have an outsized gain, right? So this is exactly what I'm doing with my day trading strategy, right? So to a sense, I am kind of going all in. I have $10,000 in that Bybit account. I use 5x leverage for a $50,000 position size per trade. On average, my stop losses tend to be 1% away from price. So I'm allowed to lose 20 times before that account's blown out, right? My most losing trades I've had in a row is 4. The most winning trades I've had in a row is 7. Okay. And I can see the result in that. This is why I'm doing this with a dedicated account and not my primary account. Okay. Because that account is designed for this strategy to be very effective in this area of the market. It works best in ranging markets. And I want it to generate me lots of capital relatively quickly. Okay. So I can actually, the reason I want to do that is because so I can roll I can roll that capital into other investments. The problem though is that when I hit a losing streak or when I hit a winning streak, those gains and losses compound, right? So let's say the first winning trade nets me $1,000. Okay. Well, I'm using $11,000 as margin, right? And I'm taking a $55,000 position size, right? So the same percentage loss on that next trade, if I have a losing trade, is going to retract me, right? Because everything compounds. It's not just gains that compound, it's also losses that compound. That's why the best strategy that I found to consistently make money is to use a risk percentage consistently. That keeps the risk. If you keep your max loss in line, then if you have a higher than 50%, higher than 55% is what I always recommend for individuals performing strategy. That's what's going to allow you to grow your capital. If your strategy is 50-50 and you're using 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, you're going to lose money. If you are going all in and you're compounding, if you're rolling 100% of your equity in your trades all the time, it's very difficult to consistently do. I don't want to dissuade you from attempting to do that. That's the holy grail of trading. That's the holy grail of trading, right along with like the perfect market regime indicator. But you know what? Listen, dude, go for it. Go for it. Like this, the markets, not everything's figured out, right? You'd be amazed what one person can do with a little bit of gumption. Bitcoin continuing to cool off after its rally push here. See what Ethereum's doing. Ethereum's still stuck in a range as well. No divergence, everything's the same. Yeah, just convergence there. All right, so what are the goals for the next few days? Goals for the next few days are for Bitcoin's price to remain above 46,462. Over here on the derivatives chart, it's going to be a couple $100 different on the spot chart, and put in another higher low. That's what we want to see here. So daily close might actually give us a very good entry price. Daily close might actually give us a very good entry price. Ooh, you know what we forgot today? We forgot the music. Yeah. Oh, Alex, I sorry, I didn't see the rest of your questions. And I also forgot to look at Smooth Love Potion. I started talking about it, but I didn't look at it. Yeah, XRP BTC. Now look at that. Look at that nice regular bullish divergence there, right at the bottom, following that scam wick, the skimic. And yeah, looks like we're going to be resuming the bullish trend on XRP BTC. Found nice support on that previous level of resistance, new level of support. We're unable to break below it. We are right back up at the top of this range here, and we did reject from it. But again, that push down got bought right back up. See, Wadatar actually flipped long back here. Minx flipped long here. And now we've got positive volume as well. Yeah, and as I talked about earlier, what I was saying, yeah, XRP, from what I understand, and from the information that I've seen, is getting accumulated. So individuals who hold the most XRP have been increasing their positions of XRP more than ever in the last year. More than ever in the last year over the last several months. And then the last thing I want to look at is Smooth Love Potion. Smooth Love Potion. Yeah, so Smooth Love Potion, like, here's the thing. I've got this bug for SLP. I've really, for some reason, and I don't like to trade my intuition, but something tells me that SLP is a good trade. And you know, again, it just continues to make lower lows. So we're continuing to see multiple buy signals. Let's actually go over here and look at SLP over here. Okay. So we're starting to get a little bit of weak bullish divergence on the daily time frame, looking at the Heikin-Ashi bars. Let's see here. We can see here that the wave trend oscillator has been oversold for a long period of time. You get a nice buy signal here, but just didn't have the follow through. Of course, we didn't have any divergence there. So things that we could watch for here is another buy signal, waiting for that following this bullish divergence, or waiting for the Heikin-Ashi trend to flip positive would be a good entry. Then we could enter, set our stop loss below the most recent swing low, below the pivot low, and then you kind of shoot for kind of a big push here on SLP. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but just something tells me SLP is a good position. I mean, I'll tell you one thing was that the nice, you know, let's bring back regular bars. All right. The first thing that I kind of saw was when you see price moving sideways after it's been declining for a long time, and then you see kind of random green candles out of nowhere. What that's typically indicative of is accumulation for larger positions waiting for a big move, right? So these things are accumulated for months, if not much, you know, for long periods of time. And then the marketing push happens and these coins pump. That's kind of how the crypto market cycle works. So. And as long as Axie Infinity continues to be relatively popular, yeah. Again, the only thing I can't, the only other kind of unknown about that is that with the Axie Infinity tends to be a little bit like sold into because it's a reward you earn from the play to earn game. So people want to obviously make their profits off of it. This is how they secure their profits. However, liquidity is also a factor for SLP as well, right? So let me know your guys' thoughts if you guys have any opinions on SLP. I don't know. For some reason, I quite like it. All right. With that being said, guys, we're getting close to the top of the hour. That's what we got for today. Let's hop over here and talk about a few things. All right, status updates. We are going to be having our Cracking Cryptocurrency Premium Mentoring session tomorrow. I will be sending out those invitations later on this evening after I've compiled the entire list. So looking forward to seeing you guys there. We're going to be talking about, again, we're going to be talking about divergence. We're going to be talking about what other fundamental factors are likely in this area of the market for potential bottoms. Talking about things and ways to position yourself, enhancing your trading strategies, optimizing your trading strategies. We might go into some pine coding a little bit, as well as answering any questions about emotional discipline, psychological trading. And we tend to get deep in the weeds talking about trade psychology, and that's kind of one of my favorite topics to talk about. So looking forward to seeing the premium members in that mentoring session tomorrow afternoon after the show. Just a sucker for the name. I might be. Yeah, that smooth love potion, man. I might just be a sucker for the name. Other than that, let's see. Anything important coming up? What I'm going to be doing is I'm continuing. So we've published the super duper DEMA strategy tester, as well as having those signals automatically generated to Discord. I'm going to continue to be working on the double VWAP bounce strategy so I can get that automated. Have those signals coming into the Discord. I'm probably going to create a special channels for that. Those are considered kind of like day trading signals. So I'll likely make a day trading signals channel for that. One for the long side and one for the short side, so that individuals aren't getting flooded in the meso timeframe trend analysis channels with the signals. So, but overall, I'm very happy to see the results of the automated strategies continue to pour into the signals channel, continue to see big wins, continue to see consistent wins, and outpacing the losses. And that's exactly what we want to see out of any good strategy. So I've optimized it to the best of our ability, and I hope you guys are enjoying the signals. Let's see here. Once I kind of finish up with, I've got a lot of programming to do. I've got a lot of strategies to kind of import into the Discord with the kind of switch to our signal system. And then I'm going to get back to work on the educational content on the website. So of course we have the Pathways to Profit, the risk management course, all that kind of stuff. But I do want to kind of introduce the introduction to technical analysis and advanced technical analysis and looking at some fundamental things in cryptocurrency as well. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I've been working on this stuff for a long time, and yeah, it's just cool to continue to provide new content to you guys and continue to push the group forward. So let me know if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, and or death threats, including hot stock tips, in the comments section down below. Remember, today's sponsor of the video is you. So if you like the content, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to continue to get updated on daily cryptocurrency market updates, as well as strategy, everything that we talk about here. I will be back tomorrow with another episode of the Cracking Cryptocurrency Market Update. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the Discord. If you guys are interested in improving your trading skills, make sure to check out the links in the description for everything you could possibly need. And make sure to hop in the Discord so we can keep the conversation going after the show and keep the feeling alive. All right, guys, trade safely, and I will see you guys tomorrow.